Yeah. So here Krishna, then these three shlokas, there is role of the soul, how the material nature acts, right? And he makes them, because we are so much attached into the material body, we think we are doing, but it's not. It's actually done by the material nature. But though all these actions are happening, right? Soul is in the body, body is acting through the material modes, but the Supreme Lord is different from all these, and he does not assume any good action or bad action, right? So he's aloof, so he's transcendental to this. So here I think we stopped, right? So now uh, what happens by this, right? Because he's not attached to the any action or results of the action, what happens? He gets free from the bondage, right? So he gets the higher knowledge by becoming free from the bondage. He no more acting through the modes. So at that point, he is situated at higher consciousness, and then he thinks of higher things like what is beyond myself, right? What is my relation? So there, uh, now Krishna takes the discussion still further, right? From till now, this Krishna is talking about what is outside your body, right? Uh, don't get attached to the action, results of action, be equal in good and bad, success and failure, positive and negative. Uh, just do your activity, all these things, right? But these are all external. Now, Krishna takes the discussion to the next level when he introduces Paramatma, right? In this section of that, there is still higher knowledge or higher consciousness, right? Where we connect it with Paramatma within you, the Supreme Lord, right? So that's what he brings in here. So ultimately, the Jnani or the Yogi, they have to go to the higher consciousness, not outside, but inside, right? So I think this is where we stop. So, like Mataji, you want to add anything like what we have discussed till now? These are just my notes, right? This is we have done. This is we have done. Okay. Want to add anything, Mataji? Or we can go ahead. Today's verses.
Is it okay to ask a question, Prabhuji?
Yeah, no problem.
This doer, who is the doer?
Yeah.
Paramatma, Paramatma or Jiva or Prakriti. Krishna, three modes are doer, he is telling. Also, Krishna is the doer, but we are also doer. But we are not a doer. I mean, we are the doer in the sense we are desiring. Prakriti is taking action by the sanction of Krishna. That is my understanding. Based on our good and bad karma, the things may happen. Whatever we desire, Krishna make it true, make it possible through Prakriti. How we can understand Prakriti is acting, because it's invisible, you know. Of course, the soul itself invisible. Super soul also invisible. Prakriti. Actually, we have inside our modes. Based on mode, we may be acting. For example, if you're in good mood, I mean goodness, we may feel like studying Bhagavatam something. If we are in ignorance mode of Tamaguna, then we may be liking to watch TV and sleeping or something kind of thing. Passion means like shopping or something active way, different way we will be using. So how about that? Based on that, we are stimulated to do action within us. The modes are also set with the 24 elements. The out of that, I don't know. How, for example, the smartphone is working outside. If we go through the antenna signals, right? The similarly, the material nature, Krishna's energy, is it making us to act how it is? Could you please explain that part, material nature, Prakriti?
Yes. Okay, so when we say material nature, Prakriti, it has 24 elements, right? Like you said, but the most important is, okay, senses, objects of senses, everything is there, but the main actor or action happens through the three modes, right? Of course, in accomplishment of any action, there are five things, right? Jiva, Paramatma, our desire, our senses, and ultimately the God, right? All these come together, some action is done, right? In the 18th chapter, Krishna tells, right? So when we think ourselves as a doer, that's completely wrong understanding, right? Because we alone
Yes.
cannot do anything. So
Mm.
how we act, right? So that how to understand, like one example you gave, right, about mode, in which mode we are, based on that we may choose to
Mm.
read or watch, right?
Mm.
So these are very practical, but we can do same observation for all our activities. Okay,
Mm.
so if there is some argument between, say, myself and Bhageshri, okay, if I am in mode of goodness, I may listen to her, okay,
Mm.
but if I am in passion and ignorance, I may argue, or I may shout, right? So based on the mode I keep myself, it's acting, right? And how the modes will be defined, right? It's not only the time or something, right? It depends on my overall consciousness, right? So if I have stress in office, okay, for example, or she has stress of several other things at home, and she's trying to do best for her from her side, I'm trying to do best from my side, but we both are in passion, right? Because of
Mm.
so much actions, and
Mm.
then conflict happens, right? So it's not only that situation, but how that situation we come into is important. And then
Mm.
we understand, okay, I was already into mode of passion or ignorance. So when therefore some argument or something happened, I reacted on the spot by anger or whatever, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
same thing for all other our actions, right? So
Mm.
as the day progresses, right, from morning to the night,
Mm.
our bodily clock, our bodily response, everything
Mm.
changes. Okay.
Mm.
So like morning, if you study, it is better. Night, difficult to study for me. Some people they can study in night, right? So
Mm.
everybody has different body structure and consciousness. Okay, so as the day progresses, so several actions and movements around us also starts. Worlds also around us also. Not only we, but the nature also starts moving, right? So like
Mm.
if we have, so today is almost full moon, right? Tomorrow is, but it's almost full moon. But then if you look at the moon and the sky, we feel peaceful, right? But if
Mm.
it is dark and cloudy and raining, then that effect comes on our mind also, right? We also go into ignorance. We want to sleep, right? So
Mm.
then we say, oh, today's weather is very nice for sleeping. So it's actually the soul is not acting here, right? Just
Yes.
because the weather has
Watching.
changed,
Mm. Mm.
watching that, we thought, oh, this is what I should do because we have done this in the past, right? When it is
Mm.
raining, it is cold, we sleep, right? So there are several factors which make us to act in a particular way. Okay,
Mm.
and this doer, he knows, right? In 5.10 and sorry, 11 and 12, it's clearly mentioned, right, that this person, this doer, this person who is doing the Nishkam Karma Yoga, he understands that actually he's not doing anything, right? All this is done by modes, right? While sleeping,
Mm.
which is a person divine, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, all these actions, right, that we do, he
Mm.
knows within himself means what? Within his consciousness, that he
Mm.
knows that I am not doing all this. It's done by body and the moods, right?
Mm. Mm.
So uh, so that is the higher consciousness, right? That I understand my true identity, and from
Mm.
that I see my body, right? So
Mm.
today I am in this body, but if I die, I may be in some another body,
Mm.
right? So depending on the body, my body, and also like if you say any animal or anything in the world, is the same thing. They are acting from the bodily point of view, right? So if
Okay.
somebody
Yes.
shouts on me, why I react, why I get angry. Though
Mm.
I studied Bhagavad Gita, everything, but I get angry. Why I get angry on Bhageshri, right, or anybody? Because I consider what she's talking to me. Me means what? My body, and I'm considering myself to be body, and then my ahankara comes in and I shout on her also, right? Why you say like this? Why it's not like that? Something like that. Why I argue? Because I think I am the body, right? So that is ignorance, right? Ignorance and passion, I do the action because I am not in proper understanding. So I lost this point, that doer and not doer. I'm thinking I am the doer, right? And this body. So all our actions are from this. So even if you take office work, even if you take housework or any relationships, this the main point of problem is our ignorance of considering ourselves to be body. From there it starts. So here Krishna is telling that person who is in divine consciousness means higher consciousness, right? So he knows that it's not, I am not doing, I am different from this. But because of our conditioned state of so many lifetimes and what is around us, we still think I am this body and we act, we react, and so we get bound, right? So that is how, if you see, our all actions come from that, right? So we don't, uh, the modes, everything will be there, but if our consciousness is not right, all the problem happens. And when our consciousness is not right, we are into some mode, so ignorance, passion, or goodness, and then we do actions which are not supposed to be done. So uh, I think this takes some practice that we observe how I acted and why. Right? So this is it Sankhya type of thing, right? Try to analyze our action and reaction and find out the cause. Right? But sometimes it is required to be done so that uh, we understand what Krishna is trying to tell us, right? And
Yes.
so that's something I can say, but you can add, or Aarti Mataji can also add her experience or your experience, right? So how we can analyze this, right? Take some time, but we have to observe this.
Sometimes we get help from unknown people. Suddenly something good thing happens.
Hmm.
It surprises.
Hmm.
I mean, my feeling is the modes are acting only within our side. It's not like antenna, like signals, invisible. I'm feeling the Prakriti, maybe it is, of course, inside within us. Apart from that, invisible, something is acting, the energy. Through that, things are happening. Is it like that?
Yes, yes, yes. So, see, like whatever happens, like if some unknown thing comes and it helps us, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's of course that particular situation also, but also our uh, past karma also plays there, right? So we have done something good to somebody, and that is being returned now, right? Don't know of this lifetime or maybe past lifetime or whatever, right? But it's coming back now, correct? So uh, it, it,
Okay,
it, yeah,
understood.
it's mix of both, right?
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, for me, karma helps me move through grief quite acceptingly, Prabhuji, because instead of blaming circumstances or like many people think that life is unfair to them, right, Prabhuji? But
Right.
and they usually nowadays the religion, like people who show Hinduism like God can come and rescue you. I mean,
Mm,
not in the Prahlad Maharaj sense, but like normal mundane thing, you do something, God will immediately come and leave, like take away all your troubles. Otherwise, God is not listening to you. God is blind. They
mm,
show so much drama on TV, and like they put the blame on God. But for me, this knowledge of karma, it has like, okay, you did something, that's why you're getting this. So now move on. So like that acceptance and moving on, it has this knowledge has helped Prabhuji. That's
yeah.
what I feel.
Yeah, that's true. And see, Krishna himself told that the functioning of karma is very difficult to understand. Right? Only he understands that, right? But uh, this is one way that you explain, like the knowledge helps, like. And so in this chapter also, right, now in the 17th to 29 shloka, when we go, right, so as this Krishna is taking the discussion from Nishkam Karma Yoga to still higher level, right? To focus inside, right? So that time, what he's mentioning actually, that outside things, maybe we can see that shloka, right? It's very relevant actually. When your point, right, Mataji, of tolerating the things, right? And Krishna is saying the same thing, right, here. Um, so at this point, right, tolerating the external conveniences and focusing internal. Uh, by this jnana, what we understand that outside whatever is happening is cannot control, right? And the problem of all those things is a material nature, which is beyond um, our not focus, our what word, our control, or we cannot influence, right? Beyond our influence, right? So, like Mataji said, right? With this knowledge, we understand what we understand, like reality of the situation. Like when Mataji said, like if something wrong happens, instead of blaming somebody, we can understand that oh, it's coming from some life of my previous life or somewhere. So this is what this is knowledge, and some eliminates everything means like we can see the things very clearly, and in its true perspective, right? So uh, I understand that something wrong happening, it's coming from somewhere, and what can I do? I can just tolerate it. Right? So this Nishkam Karma Yoga, when you do unattached to the results, and but you still act for purification. How the purification happens? This way, we tolerate the things, right? And by that, we try to see the things equally, right? Because then nothing outside impacts us, right? And then our vision and our consciousness is situated at Brahman. Brahman means like where everything is same, everything is good, everything is equal, right? But death and everything goes beyond. In Brahman, it's not there, right? So that vision is achieved by Nishkam Karma Yoga, and subsequently the knowledge that we get from Nishkam Karma Yoga, right? Because you do all actions as yajna, you get knowledge. So Mataji said, like, because of this knowledge, I'm able to understand what's happening around me, right? So this is knowledge is what? Mode of goodness, right? Now with mode of goodness comes knowledge, right? And happiness, right? So why the happiness comes? Like if something wrong is happening, we tolerate the situation, right? So then the situation does not affect us, right? So we still are okay inside. Even if wrong is happening around us, still we are okay and peaceful and happy, right? So that is real understanding, right? So then Krishna talks about this, who is self-realized person, right? If you see all those points, right? Uh, it's a point. These all these points are very focused person, very grave person. Right? He's like this, right? He keeps himself very steady, stubborn. It's not stubborn is not a correct word. Fixed, uh, and convinced person, very self-confident person. But still, he's very happy and peaceful, and his face is very peaceful. Why? Because he enjoys within. He knows outside there is nothing. Everything is inside. And so that is the symptom of this person, right? And further, what Krishna tells actually. So here, this is the point that Mataji was saying that whatever problems I am facing, it's okay. They are coming from my previous karma, my senses, and they are temporary. Like the problems, nobody wants problem, right? Nobody wants sorrow, failure, but it comes. It comes, and the way the sorrow or unhappiness comes, it will go like that only. It's temporary. We don't have to endeavor so much. So we have to just give that time. Hmm. So we don't try to find out the root cause. Main point that Mataji mentioned, we don't be critical on anyone, right? Because then the chain reaction starts. Uh, and so to tolerate this, what we have to do, right? To tolerate all these things without any anger, without any desire, without any envy, what we have to do? We have to focus inside. So Krishna here introduces the Paramatma, that you focus on Paramatma. And then when you focus on Paramatma, you enjoy within. And the external things don't affect you. And then all your focus and all your efforts are to go inside. How much inside I can go, right? So, like Mataji said, I can be steady in that situation also. Why you can be steady? Because you are focusing inside rather than outside, focusing little higher consciousness. So when we do this thing, right, then we slowly start improving our consciousness, improving our experience of consciousness, and then we want to do more and more, right? So how much within, inside you can go, there is no limit. Uh, Once you go to Paramatma, then you have to go much higher, right? So this is what Krishna is trying to tell in this chapter, right? Okay, you go inside, and when you focus on Paramatma, then actually you get peacefulness or liberation, and then you become free from what? Anger and desire. See, anger, anger management, anger tolerance, there are so many lectures, everything, but it's not easy to control anger. Everywhere Krishna has told about the anger, uh, desire, anger, and fear, these three things, right? So we should not take anger lightly. It's a serious thing. Uh, so if I get angry, there is a problem, some problem inside me. I have to find out that, right? So what is happening? I'm in some wrong mood, something wrong is happening, right? So anger is a indicator of something wrong. Right? So Krishna here telling like if you focus inside on the Supreme, then actually you can overcome that anger because you no more are critical on anybody outside your body, right? On some person or some situation or anything. You don't criticize anybody and you don't blame anybody and you don't hold anybody responsible for your problems. Right? Then you don't have envy or anger or anything for them, right? So now the point comes how to go inside, right? How to go within. Well, how can we do that? Because if that is the state of peacefulness and happiness and higher realizations, how to do that? So in 27, 28, Krishna talks about Ashtanga Yoga, right? How the yogi achieves this, right? Because Ashtanga Yoga is all about controlling your breathing and going inside, controlling senses, desires, everything that is outside. But at the same time, you focus inside, right? How your mind and your thoughts, everything, right? And you try to realize Paramatma. So that introduction Krishna has done in 27, 28. And then in 29, he introduces much higher, Bhoktaram. So he says, okay, Ashtanga Yoga, Paramatma, you focus there, but there is still higher realization of that, right? So the 29th shloka is like, I am the giver of everything, I am the controller of everything, and I am the, how to say, whole and soul of this universe and whatever happening around you. So here Krishna is actually introducing himself as something higher, right? Bhaktaram Yajna Tapasam. So for all yajna and all austerity, I am the result, right? I enjoy the Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. I am the how to say maintainer of everybody. And I am the object of all the worship, right? Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Surudham Sarva Bhutanam. I am the uh, friend of everybody. Surudham Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities. Jnatva Mam Shantim Richati. So if you understand me, then you go beyond all this Shanti and you get achieve Shanti. So here, Jnatva Mam, here Krishna is introducing himself uh, as the object of worship, as the friend of everyone. Right? So this chapter is actually Krishna is taking the two stages, right? First to do Nishkam Karma Yoga. I think in the verse 15, he introduces the word Vibhu. Vibhu means who? Paramatma, right? So, and then on 17, He starts tad buddhyas tad atmanas tad nishtas tad parayana. So your mind, intelligence fixed, everything fixed on what? Tad. Who is that tad? Tad is that Vibhu mentioned in the shloka 15. Nadate kashyati papam nacheva suddham Vibhu. The Lord does not receive or accept anybody's sinful reaction or pious reaction. But Jiva is bewildered. So here, this Vibhu and Tat, they are uh, indicating to Paramatma. So that Paramatma feature will be explained in the sixth chapter, right? Ashtanga Yoga, which is introduced in 27 and 28. And then 29, which is Bhakti Yoga, from the 7th chapter to 12th chapter. So these 2-3 shlokas, very important, where Krishna is giving the higher realizations, how we achieve that. So if you want to be peaceful and happy, you have to be very much focused in your life. Right? It's not like if you want to be, see now, yesterday, right, that Neeraj Chopra, right, he won the gold medal, right? If you read his stories, he's so focused on practicing and what he want to achieve. And he does, and he practices on that. No? Everybody, right? All the players, anybody, if you want to learn music, if you want to study, you need to be very focused. So for bhakti, why you should not be focused? You should be grave. You should be steady. It's required. You should be serious. And then only you can achieve some results, right? Otherwise, how you can achieve the results, right? So this is what I think this chapter takes our consciousness to still much higher level, right? And from Karma Yoga to Nishkam Karma Yoga to Ashtanga Yoga, and from there to Bhakti Yoga. And one more point Krishna emphasizes that even if you are a Jnani or you are Karma Yogi, at the end you have to do Bhakti. Right? After Nishkarma, Nishkam Karma Yoga, you get knowledge. What is that higher knowledge? That you are part of something. And then you focus on Paramatma. And then you achieve liberation. So bhakti is required. It's not that just by going karma yoga, you will get the highest. No, that's not possible. Or jnana, you can achieve Brahman, but not beyond that. So in both these, there is always risk of going back into the same chain, right? So Krishna is telling, no, you have to go much deeper inside, right? So I will stop here and then it's open for your comments and questions, or if you want to add anything.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, the Bhoktaraming Tabasam, the 29th verse is very important, I felt.
Yes.
Bhoktaraming, Krishna is the enjoyer of everything.
Yes.
He's a protector. He's the Lord of all. Actually, I mean, because he's enjoyer means everything belongs to Krishna. He's a proprietor. Like if we cook food, our body, soul, everything belongs to food, the ingredients, everything, fire we are using for cooking, everything is coming from Krishna. That way, really, we have to first offer to Krishna because he's the enjoyer. Then we have to eat food. And Sukradam Sarva Bhutanam, I felt is within our heart. He is a best friend. He takes care of everyone, not only human. I watched the program, animal program I like to watch. So we can see how the animals, birds or whatever, they struggle really too much, really to grow the baby. Sometimes some enemy, they come and they eat the bird or the bird's egg. And they go far place and bring the food for the the small sparrows or small birds or even mammals. So they don't have any knowledge. For example, turtle, they lay egg in the seashore. I watched that also. In the seashore, it leaves to the ocean, sea. After the egg hatches, the turtle goes towards, although it is far, it will be dark also. It knows the way where to go. So Krishna is helping that turtle also. And also the birds, even for some days only they grow. For example, human and all, up to 20 years we are caring. After that also we are carrying their grandchildren like this. But just 2 weeks or something only they care. After that they find them their way, how to find food, how to protect them from other animals or enemies. So it's all Krishna is within them. He is guiding. He is well-wisher of everybody. So that is really great. So if we think in that way, we really have faith on Krishna. He's caring. So if we look at the animals, and we have, Krishna has given knowledge for us. So if we chant when we see outside the birds flying or something, just they chirp only. But we have mouth to use, you can chant. So we can feel, we can use the human life for Krishna. We are somewhat better than that animals. That is, so Krishna is telling, use your intelligence. I mean the desire. We are unnecessarily having desire in the material thing, and we are entangling, making the karma and the reaction, everything. But the same desire, if we have for Krishna, like reading and chanting, our Krishna may increase, faith will increase. So this sloka is giving faith for Krishna, faith on Krishna. That's all I understood.
No, that's very, very nice realization, Madhavi. I also like this word, that's Surudam Sarva Bhutanam. I'm the best friend of everyone. That's actually, he is always with us, but somehow we forget. And of course, we have friends in our life also. They are also good friends, but he's the best friend, right? And he's eternal. So I always like this shloka, right? This sentence, right? Surudam Sarva Bhutanam and Sarva Lokamaheshwaram. So, like you correctly mentioned, like if you see animals and even if nature, right? If you see the plants also, how they survive in so much heat without water and cold, and still when the season comes, the plant again start growing, right? Everything becomes green. And you see the nature also, right? It's so much you can learn that how Krishna is maintaining in the trees and plants also. In the winter, everything is dry, and if you look at that, you think that all these things will never grow again. But when the spring comes and slowly everything becomes green, and it's just wonderful, right? How Krishna keeps them alive.
Yes. Winter, from winter to spring, if we see really lot of change. In the winter, there is no leaf at all in most of the trees. In summer, spring, we can see the new leaves. Great.
When the leaves gone, right, we think like, okay, this tree is gone, dead. But no, still the life is there, right? And it's at correct time it will come out, right? So Krishna is maintaining everything and everyone. Actually, it's our problem. Yeah. We have to somehow keep ourselves in good consciousness. So we need some higher association with those people, those devotees who are in higher consciousness. And one of my experiences, right, when we say of higher consciousness people, right, of course, devotees with higher consciousness is good, but in our day-to-day life also, or in our work culture also, in our normal life also, I see many people who are who are, you can recognize that this person is in little higher consciousness. He's not like everybody else, especially some people on the higher positions, like in office or in society. We see them, we understand that this person is very focused and very much grave and very much his integrity is very high, and he knows what he wants to do. Right? So such people, it's not only devotees, but even if you associate with such leaders or such people, you also change your consciousness. So I always don't limit myself to having association of the devotees. Of course, it is best if you have, always you can, but if you cannot, then you don't have to wait for great devotees, right? You can see around you and you can find out such people, because see, Krishna is there, right? He said, so so he knows what we want. So if he knows that I want people who have higher consciousness and higher value of life, so he will bring such people near to us and we can notice them. So you can try to experience this. Then,
Yes, I agree.
yeah,
Sometimes we won't use it.
yeah,
I mean, facilities Krishna gives, we may not use it. That is true. I agree. If we use it, it is good.
you have to be, mind should be open, eyes should be open, consciousness should be open, then Krishna is helping always actually. Any other points, Mataji?
Prabhuji, I would like to share something. This is a realization I've had, like connected to my grandfather passing away recently. Until then, I've never really been a part of this mourning process. So, what they practice is like from the day after that, they chant a little bit of Garuda Purana every day. And within those 11 or 13 days, they have that thing. They are supposed to finish reading that whole thing. So that was the first time I was hearing it. It is a conversation between Lord Vishnu and Garuda. So he inquires about what happens to the soul after the after journey, and it's quite scary to like the descriptions. Everything is like really scary as to what happens, like all the punishments they get, all the things that happen, what journey the soul takes. It was very scary, and I thought, like, why should they read this immediately after like this losing someone? So I then realized that probably people would be scared when they see something live like this, and then probably from later on, like at least from that point, they will start living a better life so that they get treated better after this body. And one class, there was a thing about why Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme Purana out of all the Puranas, because it is in the mode of Sattva and all others have other modes. So I was thinking, like, instead of like thinking about this part and keeping your soul safe and uh, safeguarding your soul, if you just do the happy way of associating with Krishna, all this is like void, nothing. You don't even have to worry about all this. That's what even happened to Ajamila, where even when the Yamudutas came, he was like just rescued by the Vishnu Dutas just because he said like once or twice at the end of his life. So it was like a major realization where you said, even though you do jnana, even though you do other things like Nishkam Karma Yoga, you still need to have bhakti. Like, yes, Garuda Purana gives you the knowledge. It tells you like what all will happen. Don't do this. You will get burnt in the thing. You will have to, the Vaitarani river, everything you have to cross, and all that they tell you, everything to scare you, to put you on the path of goodness. But when you're allied with Krishna, you don't need all this. And it's an enjoyable process rather than a scary process and like being in fear. This is more enjoyable. You get to listen to his glories. You get to think about him. You get to offer things to him. You get to have a happy relationship, like for the soul. So this point which you made, like, brought all those memories, Prabhuji.
That's true. Yeah, actually, see what you mentioned, right, or what Mataji was also mentioning. Um, just studying Bhagavad Gita, right? Even if you keep studying Bhagavad Gita, right, after finishing again study. I was reading Bhagavatam. I will share that shloka, right? And Srila Prabhupada writes in that the more you read Bhagavad Gita, the more aspects will come in front of you. So now we are discussing on some context, right? Bhagavad Gita. When we complete and again we start Bhagavad Gita, it of course there will be some points that we will be discussing always, but there will be additional points that will be coming up and which are much at higher level of consciousness, right? So Srila Prabhupada writes every time their realization will be different. So, like you mentioned, what other effect or what other good effect of this Bhagavad Gita knowledge is, right? Like the in India, in all part of India, actually, whatever rituals we have, right, at different occasions, not only after somebody passing away, but say marriage or Griha Pravesh or Satyanarayan, any puja you do, now, like you say mentioned, right, this time when you heard the Garud Purana, you understood it, right, what's going on, what is the discussion going on, right? But it's not compulsory that all the people who were there, they can relate to what the discussion is going on, right? They will hear some stories going on, but that is a different level of understanding. But your understanding is much higher because you know, okay, this, why Garud Purana is telling all these things. The ultimate purpose of that is, okay, you understand that you don't have to go to this path, right? So this is what Krishna is telling, that you, when you spend time, when you sacrifice time, your intelligence, your body, your eyes to study Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavata, that sacrifice results in higher knowledge, right? And this is how it helps. Like so, uh, any puja I have also seen, right? Like any puja that we do in India, it's all actually connected to Vishnu. That is one more my realization. Okay, I heard the Satyanarayan puja. I heard the Graha Pravesh puja. Of course, there do you worship Ganesh ji at the beginning. Okay, in Graha Pravesh also to remove the obstacles in whatever puja you are doing. But ultimately, the puja goes towards Vishnu. All the offering goes towards Vishnu, right? So you can also check your rituals, right? What mantras the Brahman is saying. You can ask him the meaning of the mantra, and then it actually connects to Vishnu, right? So our India's, and then I understood now, like why taking birth in India, Srila Prabhupada always said as the greatest boon. Because from the childhood, we have been molded in such a way that somehow or other, we are worshipping Vishnu. Okay, even if you are worshipping Durga or Ganeshji or Shivji, there will be mantras of Vishnu and you are taking that name. So that's the wonderfulness of our culture, India culture actually. And the way our ancestors have designed this lifestyle is actually very sattvic and very Vaishnavic, Sanatan Dharma lifestyle. Na? So actually it helped me a lot of study, like you mentioned, and our reactions also, right? When somebody passes away or something like this happens, right? We do react differently. That's my understanding from other people. So that's my realization also that our reactions are a little bit different. That's all because of just this higher knowledge and the higher consciousness that we gain with that knowledge. So it's very nice and very helpful practically also. That's what I feel.
And one more thing, when Mataji was talking about the birds, the trees, and all, in Malayalam there is one song called Jnana by a devotee, Guruvayurappa devotee. His name is Jnanapanna. In that, he is also like urging the soul to like stop getting distracted and focus on uh, Krishna. He writes in a verse that says, like, you don't know how many janmas you've stood as a tree, and you don't know how many janmas you've walked as a booth, you walked as a pichach, You don't know all that. Now that you have this body, make use of it and connect to Krishna. So like the essential thread everywhere kind of seems to be like attain Krishna, but then the way they are doing it is like kind of like telling a small child, if you don't do this, then God will come and poke your eyes, like that. It's like scaring them into that path. That's what I feel, Prabhuji.
That's very true. All
Mataji,
our
can you share the song later? Mataji,
please.
can you share the song later? Link.
Sure, Mataji, I will share it. It's very nice. It will be a 30-minute song where she's singing. There is a lady singer, but yeah, it's very understandable for Tamil people actually. Malayalam.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, all these our ancestors, not ancestors, the saints, right, in India, in different parts of India, they have done such a great contribution to our society, that through their small bhajans and songs, they are delivering this ultimate message actually. And we don't know that they somehow or other, but just listening to those songs and bhajans, actually they are molding our soul, right, slowly to attract towards Vishnu. That's what I experienced. Like, oh yeah, these people were saints were really great. They have done so much for us indirectly. It's a great, very rich culture actually we have. Very true. Okay. So next time we will start sixth chapter, maybe first 15 shlokas. We'll see. Okay. Thank you very much. Can we close for today?
Yes.
Sure,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you so
very
much for patiently
Thank you.
listening, Prabhuji.
No, it's learning for me also, right? All these experiences, like, yeah, then I also recall, right? Yeah. That's very useful actually. That's how Bhagavad Gita should be studied. No? That's the way to discuss, right? Bhagavad Gita should be discussed. So let's discuss more next time also from the fifth chapter where we go to Ashtanga Yoga. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.